Welcome back to online classes. Yes, students, how are you? I'm James here. Today I'm going to discuss with Transfer of Property Act. Okay, under section 55 subclass 4. Okay, unpaid vendors lien, LIEN, unpaid vendors lien. What is the meaning of unpaid vendor? In contract of sale, seller agrees to transfer the property to the buyer and promises to register the property with the cost of the buyer. Okay, the buyer promises to pay the consideration. Consideration means money. Okay, both of them agree to register the property within a stipulated date on or before that particular date. The buyer pays the consideration and the seller register that document. Okay, the sale is completed in all respects. It is general in all transfer of properties. Okay, in certain exceptional cases, the seller agrees to receive the consideration for the property after 1 year from the date of registration. The law does not compel to pay the consideration immediately. Okay, the consideration may be fully paid or fully promised or sometimes partly paid and partly promised. Okay, in such cases also the registration is valid, but there must be consideration. Then what are the remedies open to a seller of immovable property? Here, where the ownership has been passed before payment of the old money. Okay, this question mark in this situation. If the price is not paid, the seller cannot that ground set aside the conveyance. Okay, the seller can only a charge on the property for the unpaid purchase money. Okay, we discussed already charges also. What is the meaning of charge? What is the difference between charge and the exchange? Okay, this is a charge without having possession as explained in section 55 subclass 4 subclass B in the Bar Act. Okay, the unpaid seller is entitled. What is the meaning? Unpaid seller is entitled to the property. The section 55 subclass 4 subclass B of transfer of property clearly explain the provisions about the rights of unpaid seller. Rights of unpaid seller, where the ownership of the property has passed to the buyer before payment of the whole of the purchase money. Okay, before payment of the whole of the purchase money, to a charge upon the property in the hands of the buyer. Any transferee without consideration or any transferee with notice of the non-payment for the amount of the purchase money or any part thereof remaining unpaid, and for interest on such amount or part from the date on which possession has been delivered. This is called unpaid seller entitled. Okay, here the unpaid vendor exercise charges, interest and cancellation. 3 is available. Okay, what is the meaning of charges as per this unpaid vendor? The unpaid vendor exercise charge over the property to transfer to buyer until the buyer pays the agreed payment fully. Okay, the buyer pays the as per the agreement of the contract. What are the amount? That amount payment fully. Okay, the unpaid vendor shall have the right of charge. This is called unpaid vendor's lien, or other name unpaid vendor's charge. Lien means is having inner rights, okay. And interest, second point, interest. What is the point of interest, meaning of in this TP Act? Not only the principal amount is the loan amount, okay, not only that principal amount of the agreement between the buyer and the seller. The unpaid vendor is entitled to receive the interest on the unpaid amount from the date of possession, okay, or any other date agreed between the parties to the actual date of payment, because both persons agree to date. Also already mentioned this date, last date, up to 2 months, up to 3 months. First payment was received from the buyer to seller, or initial amount paid by the buyer, advance amount, okay. After rest of the money, that is remaining part of the money, will pay after 3 months, okay. Some date also fixed, okay, that actual date of payment, okay. The rate of interest may be agreed by the parties already at the time of sale agreement, or it may be customary, okay. So that is interest. Cancellation. What procedure the unpaid vendor to be cancel the agreement? Generally the unpaid vendor has no right to cancel the sale deed, okay, if he can prove any fraud on the part of the buyer, okay. If he can prove any fraud on the part of the buyer, then he can file a suit against the purchaser for cancellation, okay, cancellation suit or damage suit, okay. The court may consider the issues depending upon the circumstance, okay. After the court order, only the unpaid vendor cancel the agreement, okay. So therefore section 54 subclause B gives statutory safeguards to the unpaid seller, okay. Okay, based on this unpaid vendor's lien, we'll discuss on famous case law Webb, W-E-B-B, Webb versus Macpherson, M-A-C-P-H-E-R-S-O-N, Macpherson, okay. Here one Lloyd, L-L-O-Y-D, Lloyd, okay, had a tea estate, okay. So this person, he agreed to sell that tea estate to Macpherson, M-A-C-P-H-E-R-S-O-N, Macpherson, for rupees 80,000, okay. The terms of the sale agreement were that an amount of rupees 30,000 was to be paid immediately, okay. That is first installment at the time of agreement, 30,000, and the remaining amount of rupees 50,000 in installments, okay. Note the point, installments. The conveyance was registered, that means this agreement was registered on receipt of rupees 37, because the initial amount received from the buyer 30,000 rupees only in cash, okay, and remaining by the undertaking or promise to pay in installment, okay, by the buyer, okay. The property was handed over to Macpherson, okay. Lloyd handed over to Macpherson this property. After 1 year, Macpherson did not pay the annual installment as per undertaking of the contract, okay. Undertaking of the contract, undertaking of the sale agreement. Here Webb, W-E-B-B, Webb, who is he here? Webb, the executor of Lloyd, brought a suit for declaration, okay, because the Lloyd was died and Lloyd executor, his name is called Webb, okay. So, a suit for declaration of charge of the T estate for the balance of unpaid purchase money. How much money? Balance 50,000. The defendant, who is a defendant here? Mac person, argued that there was no charge and was that the consideration for the sale was a sum of money only plus a covenant to pay a sum of money in the future. What is the agreement? They mention future. Okay, the consideration for a sale under section 54 may be a promise to pay money in the future. Section 54 explain. If such a promise was accepted as consideration, there would be no unpaid vendor's lien, and the vendor had to file a suit for the recovery of money only and could not exercise a charge on the property. Okay, you can receive money only, cannot able to get charges. Okay, the charges means extra money, interest. Okay, he argued, defendant. The case was pending before the Privy Council. The Privy Council judge passed the order in favor of Webb, W-E-B-B. Webb is a executor of lawyers. Okay. So, and hold that there was a charge on the property sold to Macpherson. What principle the judge was applied? Here the Privy Council judge, Lord Davey, L-O-R-D, Lord Davey, D-A-V-E-Y, Davey is Chief Justice. Okay, was his Chief Justice, was observed there is no doubt both on principle and authority. Okay, that a conveyance or sale in consideration of a covenant to sum of money in the future is different from the sale in consideration of money which the purchaser covenants to pay. It is true that if the consideration for the sale is a covenant to pay a sum of money, covenant to be paid in the future. Okay, so there is scope for the unpaid vendors charge to arise in this case. There is no ground whatever for saying that the charge is excluded by a mere personal contract or covenant or agreement with respect to the purchase money, which is not inconsistent with the continuance of the charge. Okay, here the Lord Davley explained about the unpaid vendor's charge is a statutory right. It cannot be waived on equitable grounds. And another point, he said, the seller may sue under section 55 subclass 4 subclass B to enforce his lien, L-I-E-N, lien, for unpaid purchase money. Okay, this is what's saying. This is the main explanation because this principle was applied in this case. Okay, this is the meaning of unpaid vendor's lien. I think now it's understand easily. Okay, students, we will meet again next class. Okay, wish you all the best. Bye.